Hey everybody, what's going on? Emily Roberts here and with Miss Hillary Thompson. I'm so excited for week 3. We're talking about creating a sense of urgency, and not just with your team, but with your potentials. What exactly does that mean? Well, creating a sense of urgency means this. What is a fast action item that you should be working on in your business? Well, it's probably something that you're afraid to do. That's what Hillary and I were just talking about. And we're going to go over about 5 to 6 different things that you can do to create a sense of urgency in your business and with your team members. So we're just going to keep this casual, kind of have a conversation, bounce ideas back and forth as we go down this list. But basically, creating a sense of urgency is part of your team culture. And if you do this and it duplicates down to your team, then how they post on social media, how you post in that team page, everything you do is going to be like high priority items. And you're going to teach your team, oh, I need to be working on these things now. That Facebook post can wait. That team page post can wait. What do I need to be focusing on now to achieve my goals? So that's what we're going to talk about. The first one on the list is provide your why or creating team guidelines. So Hillary, when we're creating a sense of urgency and I say, tell me your why. Why is that? How does that create a sense of urgency?
Well, for me, especially in the beginning, it created a sense of urgency because I was broke as a joke. And I knew that I needed to get my business going right now because my why was, obviously, I needed money. I was unhealthy. I was unhappy. And I have 2 children to take care of. I was consulting with bankruptcy lawyers. So if you don't think that why, that was like, I have to do this now. There is no plan B. There is no opt out. I know I'm all in. I have to do this. I need to get reimbursed even on my initial investment. I needed that ROI, that return on investment next week, that beautiful, 5 times that we get paid. I needed that check next week. So I needed to add those people right then and there and get that check next week to cover that. So I wouldn't be bouncing checks. It was a touch and go. How am I going to make this work? So I was one of those people who had no money, but I created my own sense of urgency to get it done by my why, because my why was obviously to take care of my family, to take care of my children, not be dependent upon my ex. All of those things. And by leading with that why and also showing people like, this is why I'm doing this, and this is why I want you to join me, and I need you to join me right now to do this together. Let's go. Let's run. Let's do it.
So it's fearful. I know for me anyways, putting myself out there like that was vulnerable. It was scary. But this is what I noticed. I found that every time I shared something very vulnerable, even if it was kind of funny, like if I just kind of learned to laugh at myself, that's when someone joined my team. That was the moment someone had their aha moment that, wow, I relate to that. Oh my gosh, that's my life. And so that's when I made, I think people call them why videos. That's when I posted my first why video. And that's why I think it's important to get it out on social media right away. You never know what's going to go viral these days. You really don't. But if you create that sense of urgency and you show your team, I'm putting my story out there now. You're also showing your potentials that sense of urgency of not waiting for results, not waiting to be $1 million earner, but to just show people this is like a guideline for being a Plexus ambassador, right? If you create these guidelines now in the beginning when you were signing up a new ambassador or signing up a new customer, you need to take your products now and you need to take them consistently. You need to post your why and tell your story now and do it consistently, because the quicker you do it, the quicker you're going to plant seeds. And that is what we need to get over, that fear of just putting ourselves out there, because you're not creating a sense of urgency if you're holding it in. The second thing on the list says connect the dots. And this could be for potentials or members of your team. If you're a team leader, you have one person on your team, you're a leader. If you have one customer, you're a leader. So how can you connect the dots to create that sense of urgency? Well, I'm going to answer my own question. For one Plexus. That is a part of our team culture, creating a sense of urgency by showing your team, look, I know you don't know a lot about the business, or I know you don't know a lot about the products, but that's what One Plexus is all about. I can go to this Jules Facebook page, check out these fun facts about ingredients, and know I can share that with the potential or share it with the new ambassador. It's not something that I'm stealing or taking away. We are one company together. And if I do this now, I'm showing my team members, I don't have to know it all to get started. I'm showing potentials. You don't have to know it all to get started. It's also very important to connect the dots and show that potential their value to you, as well as someone that joined your team. Let them know that they are considered a pay point when in the ranking system. They are. If they go inactive, if they stop ordering with that consistency, it's okay to chime in and say, hey, what's going on? You haven't ordered this month. It's okay to say that you are equivalent to this amount of money to me. I need you to know your value in this, but I also want you to know that you have a story to tell, and it's so much more than a numerical value. So much more. You said yes to me for a reason. Gentry says hi. And then Hillary, if you'll touch on connecting the dots, like recognition-wise, like giving recognition where it's due. And
absolutely. And something that I thought of when this came up just now too is thinking about and knowing your color too in this business, and how does that play a role, and how everyone does have a value and play a different role based on their own personality. I know for me, I'm not a green. That's just not what I do. So I place a lot of value too on the green teammates that I have, because I need them, and they place value on me because maybe they're not as outgoing and they can't get over those hurdles, and we're helping one another. Again, that doesn't mean you use it as an excuse and you just sit back and you don't do one of those areas that scares you. You just buddy up. That's the One Plexus. You get with your team member that's stronger in that area, and you work with one another on it. So, and the recognition, my love language is words of affirmation. You tell me I'm pretty all day long and like love up on me, I'm going to be your best friend, right? That's what works for me. So, and a lot of people like that. They like to be recognized. They like to see their name on a list. They like to see their efforts. Let's face it, a lot of us are moms, and we don't really get recognized. Like, our name's not getting put on a list because we wiped a butt today. So we need to feel, again, we're appreciated and that value that we have. So that's why I love that. And that does create not only a sense of urgency, but a sense of belonging that's so important, that so many people need and are longing for, to belong in something, for sure.
Absolutely. The next one on the list is be clear. Be clear. Stop vague booking. Let your potentials know why you want them to join you now, why they should order now. I don't know about y'all, but I needed mommy freedom like yesterday. And I don't mean hiding from my kids in the bathroom. I mean being able to be there for my kids. I was a full-time student and I was a workaholic. So leaving corporate America was scary, you guys. It was scary. And I was in a very vulnerable place. I was going through some postpartum stuff too. So I'm like, you want me to do what? And be a full-time mom? I don't even know how to be a mom. That's scary. But tell people that. Don't vague book about it. Like, don't talk about your troubles like no one else has them. Other people struggle with the same thing. It also has to do with your business. If you're a leader, don't vague book. Be very clear. Be clear with your guidelines. This is what I expect of my team. This is what I would love for you to do and for you to accomplish. This is what I'm here for, but you're an independent ambassador. Your success is your success. Your failure is your failure. I'm here to paint a roadmap for you and to show you some, cast vision on what can happen, because I've seen people go diamond, but I'm not going to go diamond for you. And so it's very important to stop vague booking and to put yourself out there and say that. Take the time to invest in your responses. I said don't vague book, but be very clear. Don't passive aggressively answer someone. I'm getting ahead of myself. Answer someone on a Facebook status. If their response and a message upsets you because they're not ready to dive in, tell them that. Be honest and say, you know what? We've been talking for 12 weeks and you keep coming to me about Plexus, but you still haven't taken that leap. What in the world is holding you back? Because I saw you purchase that new Coach purse, and I'm pretty sure that's not going to help your gut issues. It's okay to say those things. Obviously, it's going to come down to the relationship you have with that person. There's a nice and wrong way to say it, right? But be clear. When it comes to your team, responding to someone that has a a question, like Hillary mentioned earlier, your color personalities. You may be very, very blue. You like to have fun. You didn't even think about the details. But some people on your team are going to need logistics. They're going to need to know the nitty-gritty details. If you don't have the answer, tell them that. Send them it to someone that does, or show them in their back office, their knowledge base, their training, their tools, where they can go. And don't beat around the bush. Don't be like, well, this article says, but no, if you don't know, just own it and say, look, I may be a diamond, I may be an emerald, whatever, but I don't know everything. I'm a mom. I'm a mom first. I'm not a scientist. So be honest with potentials, but be honest with your team members. Hillary, do you want to add anything on being clear with your team and your potentials?
I just think that is so important. And if you do have that little bit of like, how do I really do that? It's always okay to ask if you can share that, that's something I learned in Jules training, of asking permission. Like, hey, can I be honest with you for a minute? And a lot of times people will say, yes, absolutely. Go ahead and be honest with me. And that relieves a little bit of pressure off of yourself too, because you've now got the permission to be honest with them. So you're going to lay it out there, and they're going to respect you a lot more if you can do that, versus you're beating around the bush. And maybe it is, your attitude sucks. Maybe that's what you need to say to them. And you're beating around the bush with that. And now a month later, they're still coming to you with the same problems. And you could have just said, hey, can I just be honest with you? Right now, you are like Krabby Patty and Negative Nelly all wrapped into one, and it's not attractive whatsoever. So until you can get out of that and throw that to the wayside, no matter what I say, what I do, what information I give you, what training I offer you, it isn't going to get you anywhere. I mean, yes, it's going to be a hard pill to swallow. It's called tough love. We're doing it from a place of love. And they're going to respect you a lot more. They may get mad at you for a hot minute, and that's okay. I mean, we all get a little hurt sometimes over things, but they're going to go back and swallow that pill and realize, you know what? Hillary, you were right. I am. And maybe it's a case of you got to peel back some layers and what's going on. They've got troubles in their marriage or whatever the case may be. You never know. So you can also use that to peel back and go into their why. All right, well, you don't like this about your life. Well, stop making excuses. It's part of your why. Let's get past it. So you don't have to be Negative Nelly and Krabby Patty all the time. Let's get past it. This is the vehicle to bust through that wall. Stop sitting back and whining about it.
Yep. And these are all tips to help with creating a sense of urgency, because they're things that get in our way and slow us down. We have a business to run. We have people to help. We have lives to change. We don't have time to dilly-dally with nonsense. So there's a website that we're using right now to get a lot of these tips, and I want to share something from that I thought was really good. I had like an aha moment. It says, if you're a leader, if you're an ambassador, model an appropriate sense of urgency yourself. This does not mean you race around, you yell at people, you know what I'm talking about, all caps and Facebook Messenger. You don't inject anxiety into every new person that's trying to go silver or gold. No, it means showing through your actions that you care about driving toward results, meaning you're not busy, you're productive. You are not just adding new team members, but while those potentials are trying to decide what they want, you keep going. Just because you have potentials does not mean that you are working your business. Working your business is constantly sponsoring new ambassadors and new customers. So it is very, very, Gentry has pen all over his mouth. I just looked and he drew all over himself. This means that while you're waiting on that response, you're still going for no. I've had so many conversations this week of, oh, well, I am on Facebook and I do this and I post on my team page and I'm following up with lots of potentials. Following up isn't anything until you seal the deal. So while you are following up, you should always be reaching out to new people. That is creating a sense of urgency and showing your team you mean business. Next one. Make it okay to make mistakes. When you want to create a sense of urgency in your downline, in your business, with your potentials, it's okay to be flawed. We're all flawed. I did not get to Diamond because I'm perfect. I had a lot of struggles. I sat at Sapphire for 10 months because I needed to learn from my own mistakes. and I'm sure Hillary, I can see you laughing. I'm sure we've all been stuck or somewhere in our business that we didn't want to be because of something that got in our way. And it's probably because an obstacle was put here and we didn't create a sense of urgency to annihilate the obstacle. So make it okay to make mistakes. Maybe you've heard this term before, failing forward. A lot of you are in this group right now because you are afraid of failing. You think that you aren't cut out for this. Well, let me tell you something. Do it afraid. Do it afraid and continue to fail forward, not backwards. Backwards means you quit. Backwards means you don't follow up with that person because you didn't like their response. Mm-hmm. Or you deleted a comment on a Facebook status instead of overcoming that objection and finding the facts. That's creating a sense of urgency and showing your team, oh, no, don't run and hide. You deal with it today. And that's what I love about that. Because when we make it okay to succumb to skeptics, or we make a mistake in our business, like posting something before finding out if it's factual or whatever. Like for me personally, I didn't follow up. That's why I was Sapphire for a really long time. I didn't follow up with potentials. I didn't follow up with my team. I just kept going and running, and I didn't pump the brakes to help them get where they were going. They're like dragging their leg, like limping. I'm like full sprint. I'm like, oh, I should probably go back and help them. I didn't do that. So learn from my mistakes. Follow up is key and a huge part of creating a sense of urgency. Hillary, when you hear that term, learn and fail forward at the same time, how do you teach your team about this? Like, what direction do you point them in?
Well, I have always said this. I mean, the only time I will and my team knows this, again, this goes back to, provide guiding principles. So this is a principle in my team already that they know that the only time Hillary is going to say, oh, that's okay. Or it's not okay to learn from a mistake, so the only time to regret it is if you don't learn from it. And that's the guiding principle. I mean, this is all about, I'd never really run a successful network marketing before. I have no clue. I've made mistakes and I've owned them, and I've gone to my team and said, y'all, I am so sorry. I've made stops at Pittyville. I've done it. I've made the mistakes. I've slowed myself down. I've gotten in my own way. I've spoke before I thought, all of those things. But it's okay. At the end of the day, we're all still here. I say that to my kids. They're like freaking out. I'm like, all right, let's take a minute. The world's still here? Yep. Are you still here? Yep. And we're okay. We're okay. Your business is okay. Everyone is just fine. You just need to learn from them. And things do not happen to you in life. They happen for you. So every single thing that is happening for you so that you can grow and learn and, maybe be able to be empathetic to somebody else that has that same thing happen to them. So just always owning them too, I think is good. Like if I fumble up on something, I own that. I'm like, woo, whoops, step right there or what have you. And people respect that. People respect that. And that's also something that people feel like they can follow and they can do that. If you put on this front of perfection, you are going to shut off so many people because they're going to think, oh my gosh, I have to have 5,000 PV to be successful in this business. If you're just all out there and just saying about, this is my PV, this is what I do, blah, 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 blah. I'm on my phone 24/7 and I sent out 50 messages today and I did this. That is not allowing someone to create their own vision too. So it's something that you have to set the precedent and to know that it's okay to be where you are, but you need to be somewhere. If you want to go somewhere, you have to be somewhere and you have to have that vision of where you're going.
Oh, I love that you ended with that because it kind of leads me to what I wanted to say next. It kind of goes back to being clear. You have to show your team members, you have to show your potentials. This is what I expect out of my business. This is what I'm doing to get those expectations met. And when you have someone that does say yes and they do join, I don't know about y'all, but when I joined, my success kit went under the bed. I was excited about the pink drink. I didn't really know anything about BioCleanse and ProBio 5. There was no guidelines. There was no anything. Like I was here for the discount. But if I would have had someone say, Emily, you have what it takes, this is what you can do right now here in the beginning of your journey to set yourself up for success, because waiting till results, waiting till I was ready to post on Facebook, that wasn't making me money and that wasn't healing my gut.
Right.
Waiting to take my products, like really Probio 5 sat in my welcome pack box for like 3 weeks, I think. Let's be real. There was no sense of urgency for me. I don't know if it was like that for you too, Hillary, but I think people are so timid and so afraid. If you're not creating a sense of urgency, that means you're adding only wholesalers.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, think about that for a second. You're not creating any sort of business building activities because you're too afraid to reach out to them. So think about that. Lastly, learn to listen and hear. What do we mean by this? There was a great idea on this website. Basically, this is following up, but following up with a sense of urgency and listening to team members versus potentials. Let's start with team members first. It says schedule a 1-hour discovery conversation to discover strengths, needs, weaknesses, and goals. And that could be with your team leaders, with your business builders, basically. The people that don't just move their mouth, they move their feet too, because we have a lot of people that say a lot of things and they don't follow through with them. I'm talking about your level 1 runners. Or maybe it's a level 2 or 3 or 5, but someone that's working this business and doesn't take your time for granted if you're willing to coach them. As for scheduling this 1-hour discovery time with the potential, you know how we talk about having a power hour? You know, annihilating a fear in 1 hour of your day or maybe 1 hour in your week. What would that look like if you got over one huge fear every week? Your business would change, right? Well, this could be a potential power hour. And picking one potential, probably a dream teamer, that's who I would go for, and discovering things about them for 1 full hour. You know, setting up a time. It's like, hey girl, do you have an hour to I really just want to get to know you more. I know we met through Facebook, but that's just not enough for me. And if we're going to become business partners, I just need to know a little bit about you, and really discovering them and diving into that, because that creates a sense of urgency by showing them this is relationship marketing. Mm-hmm. Business. You're not sitting around to just dilly daddle and gossip about your neighbor and homegirl's baby daddy. No, you are getting with them because you mean business and you want them on your team like yesterday. So that means if I need to get to know you, I'm going to take an hour of my time to get to know you so that I can introduce you like we're besties. And I think that's really important. Hillary, what are your thoughts on learning to listen, but also hearing what they're saying?
I think that is so good, because oftentimes, you know, when you are listening to someone, and I am so guilty of it too, is we have got voices going on of 1,000,001 other different things that we're supposed to be doing. And sometimes we feel like we need to multitask, and I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that and I'm going to try to listen to you, but you're not really hearing what they're saying. So being like setting aside that time. And this is one of my hugest pet peeves ever. And the only reason I have my phone up right now is because I'm going to have to get my son from school here in like 3 minutes. But if you're on a team call or what have you, and you're sitting and on your phone while you're on the team call, you might as well not be on the team call, because you are not hearing what is being said to you. And again, there are always extenuating circumstances, so don't send the pitchforks at me, but you need to be there and be listening and hearing what. And when you hear, you know, when you're listening, hearing in a way that you're already applying that to your life, you're already applying that to your business. So when Emily's talking to me, I'm already going, okay, that is great. That is exactly this area that I'm going to improve, and putting it in those areas and taking notes and being involved in that moment. Because if someone is taking the time out to do a team call or, you know, whatever the case may be there in that moment and invest. Otherwise, don't show up at all, because it's very disrespectful. And as a leader, and the more and more people, it's hurtful. And that's where it comes to, don't beg book it. Call people out. Like, listen, sister, put away that phone or get off the call. I mean, it's plain and simple. It's not being, you're not being mean. You're setting the guidelines, the principles for your business, and the sense of urgency. Like, this is a big deal. What I have to say matters. So here, what I have to say.
And that's another thing about creating that sense of urgency. If you aren't listening, then you're not going to know how to create the sense of urgency. You're not going to know what needs to be done now in the beginning stages of your business. I think that that's also a huge part of remaining coachable. This group is about being afraid. Being afraid. Are you afraid to listen? Are you afraid to hear some fun facts about yourself? Or maybe how you're working your business? I know that can be a little scary. I don't like being corrected. I don't like being told wrong. That's the blue and red in me. And I have a very little bitty bit of red. I don't have a lot of red. I mean, look, there's like, my house is a mess behind me. So that shows you right there that maybe that's what you're really afraid of. And that's why there's no sense of urgency with your team or with your potentials, because you're afraid to hear what they're going to say. You're afraid to really listen and either learn about yourself or learn about them because it's been a while, or maybe you know that they're going to say something that you don't like. So let's annihilate those fears. Let's create a sense of urgency this week. Oh my gosh, you guys, we're in week 3. We're like cruising on through this. I love what you did with your cold messaging. I feel like so many of you just have busted out of your fear bubbles. Like, you guys are just owning it. And I love it. I wanted to share with you guys as we wrap up this call, I had my all-time dream teamer join last week. This girl is a girl that is in training videos that I train on how to follow up. And when you have that best friend in your life that's just not ready, their timing is not right, they're skeptical beyond all skeptics. Follow-up is everything, and creating that sense of urgency. And that's what I did. I was like, you know what? Can you please be my +1 at this opportunity event? I would really love your support of hearing my story in person. I've been friends with her since we were 8, and she came, and it was awesome. And we went to dinner after. We were out till like almost midnight because I had so much to tell her. Because in the parking lot, this wasn't a cold message. This was like a front-to-front message. I said, why won't you join me? You're one of my closest friends. And she replied, I want to. And I about like my jaw like touched the concrete. I was like, what? I was like, okay, let's go to dinner. Let's go right now. We're going to talk. I don't care what time it is. I don't care if my babies are crazy with the babysitter. Let's go to dinner and talk. And we did. She joined, and she will be silvered before this weekend. I'm so excited. I just knew she would be amazing. So create a sense of urgency with those follow-ups today. Listen to Hillary's advice. Take mine to heart and really apply it this week. Stop lying to yourself and start applying yourself. And let's see what a sense of urgency can do for you and your business.